Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to our after chat with Carrie Eddins on Irish Wedding Chat. Did I already say that? I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to bring Carrie on now because I know she's really busy and she's had to make some time for us today. So here we go. I am bringing on Carrie. Hi, Carrie.
Hello, Jagdeep. Lovely to see you on screen. It was really good fun last night, wasn't it? In your Twitter chat, it was brilliant.
Yeah. It was. I was actually crying with the laughter.
Yeah, there was a few comments that I've never ever experienced that I was like, wow.
I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway. That's the important part, to enjoy it, I think, don't you?
Yeah, we definitely had a laugh, didn't we? It was
And some of the
point to laugh. I was like laughing so hard. I was like, oh my god.
I was crying, literally crying with with the laughter. It was absolutely brilliant. Even the thought of it.
It was really funny. It was extraordinary.
Okay, right, before we digress, okay, I'm going to pop off screen and I'm going to say to you, please introduce yourself, Carrie, okay?
Yeah, of course. It'll be my pleasure. Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Eddins, and I'm the Blondepreneur. Really, I am. And I help business owners just like you be seen and heard across the national and international media. I do this with a process which I call soft PR, which is using empathy, love, compassion, patience, play, laws of attraction, energy, astrology, to communicate in a different way with the media. So like every tweet, every email, every phone conversation, if you're lucky to have those, because it's quite unusual nowadays for the journalist, is using soft skills. And I do this largely through Twitter, and yeah, it's cool, and happy to be here. So, and you can find me at theblondepreneur.com.
Excellent. And I was just thinking there, I know you were actually introducing yourself, but before I sort of popped off screen there, I was kind of thinking there to myself, you're trying a bit of comedy on stage, are you not?
Oh yeah. I'm just working with an acting coach at the moment. We're kind of working through like different what do we call it, characterizations of different, it's mostly female entrepreneurs. I can't quite do men yet. So I've got like Annie the astrologer, and we've got like Nina the narcissist, and we're kind of working. So like, and the idea is that we have these characterizations who talk about issues that they have with PR or marketing in this character. So it's kind of fun, and it's sharing ideas. Yeah, it's quite fun. Anna the astrologer is a hit at the moment. I can't reveal them just yet because I'm still practicing.
I thought we might get a little bit of a sneak peek.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, there was something like, like Annie might say, currently Virgos, currently for Virgos, they're experiencing a bit of a challenging times, knowing that, this is pants. I can't do it. Yeah. Well, I know, Jagdeep. What I'll do is, once I've got one ready, I will come into your group and we'll do I'll reveal one of the characters, because my brain is a bit like, I'm a bit triggered because I'm a bit nervous about them, and yeah, I promise I will come back once I've got it all a bit more, because it's like different. I wear a costume and things like that, and there's different mannerisms. It's quite funny.
Oh, okay, I can't wait.
Yeah, once I've got one, I'll come back and I'll do Annie the astrologer for you into your group. I promise it'll be funny.
I look forward to it because I know it's going to be hilarious anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, I've had my acting coach in stitches, because I was sort of saying, when Jupiter transits his Uranus, and we were just like, it just came out, and I was like, oh, she goes, no, that's the line we're going to use. And I was like, okay.
I think that's brilliant. Oh, it's excellent, and we're still laughing, eh?
Well, I think laughter makes things, we learn things much more with laughter, don't we? And it's kind of, the idea with the characters is that make it a bit real, you know, that we can all relate to them. So there's an element of truth. So one of the stories that I was going to add, for example, I can remember the stories that I was going to say about like a client who was a Virgo. I don't know why I'm saying a Virgo, and went on this morning and did an energy reading, and it went so well because what they did, they read all the staff's energy as they went just literally onto the show, onto the couch with Eamon and Ruth, who are filling in for Holly and Phil at the moment. And I was having this chat to this Virgo client, as Annie the astrologer, and I was going, so how was it? How was it, Rachel, the Virgo? And she was like, well, it was great, but, you know, I had the wrong shoes on. And I was like, yeah, but they loved you. They invited you back. The phones rang off the hook. Everybody has booked you for, like, private one-to-ones. And all she could focus on was the fact that she got these, like, red shoes that she was going to wear, her lucky shoes. And she got so in the moment and excited that she just wore a red walking funky trainers covered in mud. Because Virgos, they're always, it has to be perfect. They always focus on like, yeah, but if I'd have had my red shoes on, it would have just got even better. And I was just like, it couldn't have gone better. They want you back. They loved you. You've got 20 million clients from it. It was really funny. That's what we, yeah.
Even with her muddy shoes, I do know about Virgos. My dad was a Virgo, so yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, but it wasn't quite perfect. Yeah, I love them. Exactly. I love them. So there's that's the kind of idea. And then there was like, different ones. Like there's an Aquarius, for example. Now I can remember it. Aquarians, they hate following the rules. So like we were talking about how they were booked to speak on Radio 5 Live to Rachel and Nikki Campbell. And they had a script, and you see the producer, typically on live radio, they interview them beforehand to check that they keep to the script, because they want, particularly when they're in discussion, they want people to argue one side and other people to argue another, and strict guidelines about whether you could mention your business or not. And this Aquarian went on, she was like, hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is my business, and right now I've got this product, and they just come, and like there was like they had to like dub them out like within about a minute, because they're not allowed to mention their business on this particular radio show. And they didn't even have the discussion. They were talking about something totally utterly random that was relevant to them.
I think I'm going to go and hide in the corner because I'm an Aquarius.
Because I always said the idea of one piece of PR is to get invited back. So you have to play the game. You have to give them what they want and what they ask for. You don't reinvent the rules because you're an Aquarian and you're Jennifer and you want to go, whoa, I want to talk about my product.
I'll remember that.
That's what they do.
So Sarah's joined us. Hi, Sarah. Brilliant. I thought last night was fantastic, and the tips that you shared, they were like so like gold, weren't they? They were brilliant. I have literally bookmarked them all, but I'll be sharing them on our blog anyway. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
You don't know, do you? You don't know how things land, do you? So you can write them. I'm pleased that you found them useful. That's great.
I did anyway. Personally, I did, and I think anyone else who sort of was joining the chat also did, because I think you got asked a few questions off as well from the Magic Cauldron. I have it written down here. Hang on one second, I'll get it, because the answer you gave was fantastic. Like, you know, Sarah's like, this sounds like a fun live. Yeah.
It's very fun, aren't we?
We've never actually, this is the first time I think you and I have actually spoken, but we've been connected for ages. Like,
yeah, we have. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, and this is the first time of actually having a conversation with you, and already we're having a giggle. Like, so.
We are having a giggle, yeah. It's perfect. What's your astrology, Jagdeep?
I'm an Aquarius.
Oh, there you go. I do get on with Sagittarius. I do get on with Aquarians, and I always say, because one of my friends, Carol, who is wonderful, I always say, Carol, this is the game. This is how we play it. These are the rules. She's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I've got another friend called Karen, who's an Aquarian, and she's lovely as well. And like, I'm like, really sure it's just this bit? I don't need pages, because they can give lectures. They can give lectures at no moment's notice, can Aquarians, on how to change the world, and they're so visionary, and they're like, they can, you know, they're up there with Oprah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just get them. They could run for president like that. They could change the world without ideas. They are incredible. And you always go, no, just people here. People are here. I know you're up there, but people are in this dimension. People are a bit behind you. It's like many decades.
So Sarah said, dare I ask what it means for a Leo?
Oh yeah, of course. So Leos typically in the media, they love the media. It's like moths to a flame with PR.
Cool.
They are born to shine. The thing with Leos is I have to explain to them it's not about them. So you are extraordinary. You run an extraordinary service. You are an amazing product. But often in the media, even though the side effect of it raises your profile, and you get many more people on you and paying attention to you and wanting to sign up to your list and actually buy from you, because you go up an authority and people go, oh, they must be good, they've been in the media. Yeah. You still have to give the media what they want. So it's about their audience and their timing and their agenda. So Leo is often kind of a bit like an Aquarius, but not quite as dramatic. They kind of go, yeah, but let's just say like that. Yeah, but I've got this herbal toothpaste and I made it. And, it's great, and we sold like 20,000 tubes. And actually, the discussion is about like. I don't know why herbal toothpaste has suddenly skyrocketed. So they need to just talk about their values and go into detail about their opinions instead of just directly talking about the product. So Leos can fall into the trap of just talking about themselves. Being a little bit narcissistic is the nicest way of putting it. And you're like, oh, great. Like,
oh my God, poor Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Brilliant.
We all have our astrological weaknesses and strengths. I mean,
So I have to ask you now, what are you? I think you're a Virgo, am I right?
No, I'm Sagittarian. Sagittarians are pretty good for the media because they typically fly by the seat of their pants, as you've noticed so far.
I kind of noticed, yeah.
So they can do quite well. You just have to, it's hard to shut them up. That's the thing with the Sagittarians like me. So they just go on and on and on and on and on. They've read the brief. On and on and on. And they're like, wait, can you get to the point now? What's the point? And so that's the issue. And
I'd never guessed.
They're probably a bit too honest. They wear their heart on their sleeve. So they're kind of like, you're like, I don't really need to know in that much detail and that much heart on sleeve or that raw honesty. So just stop it. Just keep it a bit tamer. They go a bit wild. I can't relate to that. Well, no, of course I can't.
No. Sarah said, I think I have the wrong star sign then.
Oh, there's always exceptions.
Always exceptions to the rule, yeah.
These are just typical ones. So maybe she's got more Cancer in her because you have like a sun sign and you have a rising sign. Right. And then you have like your Mercury sign where you communicate. You've got your Venus sign, how you love and deal with money. You've got your moon sign, how you express yourself and emotionally particularly. So it kind of depends. So Mercury is about how you mentally express yourself. So it all depends really. So these are just surface level. That's why I always say typically. So typically, for example, and like an Aries, they're a bit intense. So like I love Aries and they're really visionary. Their downside in the media is that they're quite impatient. So when they're on the radio, they might interrupt the presenter.
I'll be looking out for these traits now. Do you know what? I am actually got tears coming down.
You're like, no, just wait a second. Just wait one more second. And it's like, because even if they get their point across, which they often do because they're incredibly articulate Arians, the point is that they probably have really annoyed the broadcaster, let's just say the TV presenter or the presenter on the radio, because they really interrupted them in their flow. And the show is about the presenter. It's not about anybody else. It's about how they perform. So they don't often get invited back because they're like, but you really, really badly interrupted me. You upset my ego.
Oh, God.
Fascinating. It's fascinating.
I'd say it is. I'd say you have a very sort of organic, what would I call it? The way you sort of started in PR, it was quite organic. I've been reading up about you. I've been stalking you.
Oh, okay.
Kind of have to get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, it's great. It's cool. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, so you sort of started, I don't think, from what I can gather, it wasn't something that you kind of wanted to do. You kind of, you flowed into it. Would that kind of be right there?
Yeah, it was. Because I think I did it. I mean, the earliest time I did PR was when I was a child at primary school, which is very, you can connect the dots looking back, but you can't at the time. Me and my friends were fundraising dressed as clowns for a local, local charity. And I was like, well, let's just ring up the local paper. So I just rang up and we were in the paper and I didn't think anything of it. And I suppose I've just done it on and off for different little charities or businesses, just not really thinking about it. And it was probably only the last maybe 3 or 4 years that I've really started to take it seriously and thought, actually, I know how to do this. I can do this. I enjoy it, because it was just something I just thought everybody could do, and I didn't really value it. It's like when we do things that we can do really easily, sometimes we can all, particularly females, I think males are a whole different breed, I love them, but yeah. I think they just think they can do anything much more easily.
I know.
I love them for their confidence, but so I didn't go a traditional route or anything to this, because I've got a lot of PR peers who are like, yeah, they work for agencies or they've done particular traditional courses. No, not at all. I am very self-taught. I sort of said to one of my PR contacts the other day, I said, I've just spent hours and hours and hours on Twitter, really, because a lot of PR has moved on to Twitter, because now the media breaks on Twitter. So it's easier to do PR now, because it was never an open book. It was always, closed.
Yeah, it was really difficult to get PR, wasn't it? Yeah,
80s, 90s, early noughties. You couldn't even get hold of the journalists. It was a very closed book. You had to wine and dine them. You had to meet them. It's not what you know, it's who knows who. But now you can literally, like I taught last night, you can legally stalk them all on Twitter, most of them. And it might take a little bit of tweet, a little bit of Googling on Twitter to find them, but you can actually, you can legally find them and stalk them on Twitter now. I mean, a lot of professional PRs pay like 5 to 10, 15 grand a year to get databases to gain access to people for all of their clients. I mean, you can do that, but so that's the shortcut. But most people, I mean, you can find out with a bit of digging on Twitter who the people are that you need to speak to, and then you can stalk them. Yeah,
I love that you can stalk them.
Just a little notification and that's it. And you can, every time they tweet, you can find out what they're saying, and that helps. You could never do that before. So that's a positive and a negative. It's a positive in that, so that you can build a relationship with them faster, and you can know a bit more about them, who they are, what they do, what they're looking for, who they are as a human. But then obviously the rest of the world can. So it's opened it up. So it has become a lot more competitive, because more people can do it. And then more people think they can do it, which is bonkers. But they get a journal request and they get a few things, and they're like, oh yeah, it's really easy, I don't need any help. And
the hashtag journal request is fantastic, I think. Like, I think that's one of the ones we should put on our list, the lists that we have on Twitter, journal requests, because you never know, it might not be suitable for you, but you might know somebody who fits the bill perfectly.
I agree. I think it's amazing. It's really good, and I think it's a good way to get started. And it is really good, like you say, if you just check, because it used to be particular times of day, but that's all gone out the window in the pandemic. I used to say to people, well, between like 9 and like 11, they're going to put that, most in the UK and Ireland, they're going to put their journal requests out. Now that the journalists are starting as early as 8, it's a very good thing to jump on. I always just say to people, I want you to have joined up thinking about it. So if you do get these wins, then you've got to think, what would I, let's make it, let's look at how it can fit into the bigger picture of what I'm trying to do with my PR. Don't just go for one-off random wins, think about how it strategically fits in with you. Because then it's even more valuable, you know, instead of just go, well, I just want to be in Forbes, or I just want to be wherever it is. Just think, how is this going to help me long term? How can I build on it? How, you know, all those kind of things.
Don't figure out the steps. Oh, I'm getting an echo now. Can you hear my echo?
No, don't worry.
Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, I'm going to take my headphone out, right? So just.
It's all right. Don't worry.
So anyway, listen, I've got another question in my head, but Sarah's just left a comment here. She says, my thing, I can't see this now. I've got so much blue tears. Anyway, okay. My thing as well is budget. It's very hard to get PR when you have extremely limited budget. I don't think so. What do you think, Carrie? I
think, yeah, that's when you can DIY it. So that's when we can talk about the journal request. So what you could do, Sarah, is that like 1 or 2 mornings a week, you could say, you know, for an hour, I'm gonna type in the search bar on Twitter, #journal request, see what comes up, because literally 24/7 there are journalists asking for people for help with their media requests. So you can do it like that. Yeah. The other thing is that, you know, if you identify, like, say, 3 places that you want to be featured in or quoted in, it could be trade publications, it could be your, you know, local, national, regional radio or newspaper. Identify them, do a bit of research, find out where they are on Twitter, and then just start to stalk them, and then start to think, you know, get the newspaper out and look about where in the newspaper you want to be, or the magazine. It could obviously be a magazine. And then start to build a relationship with them on Twitter, and then you can pitch them an idea. You know, you could say, well, look, last week or last month you talked about, you know, this and this. I wonder if you'd be interested in a piece about this. You know, I can post in your group like a template about how to pitch. That would help.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
I think sometimes it's a lot. It's time more than anything. I think with the media, you want to do the research, a lot of research at the start. That's the most lengthy time. So you want to like look for them on Twitter and look who works on the team for the particular publication. You crucially want to realize it's not just the media that you want to be in, it's where your ideal clients are in.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. And so, you know, if you don't know what media your ideal clients consume, then just ask them. Just say, hey, I'm thinking of doing a bit of PR. Just be transparent, you know, I'd really love to know what media you consume. And they'll tell you, you know, it's quite surprising. People do answer questions like that. They'll be like, oh, yeah, okay then, you know, and then you can, so just keep it simple. Just focus on maybe 3 pieces of media coverage that you want to, instead of trying to do everything. And you could do that like 1 or 2 mornings a week for like an hour or 2, and it will just build up. It will build up, but it's good to start small and then just incrementally build it up. The easiest way to do is probably, I would say, somebody said this to me the other day, what's the easiest way? I would say to get on your local radio. Yeah. So ring up your local radio and just say, oh, I'm just ringing up because if you ever need anybody to pass a comment or take part in a discussion about what you're an expert in, you know, whether it's calligraphy or being a working mum, running a business from home or whatever it is, just say, you know, here's my email, here's my phone number. And because radio time is the hardest to fulfill, really, because they have much more time to fill than anything. So it's also the easiest one to fill. So it's easy for you to get in on, because there's so much need for it. The constant, because I think people forget with the media, it's like, they need things 24/7. It's like they constantly need new people, and it might look on the surface, looking out, that it's the same people getting the same PR shooting, but really it isn't. I mean, unless it's celebrities or politicians, we're not competing with them. It's not. It's actually they're always looking for new people. They do invite people back, but they are always looking for new people. Like everybody watching, you know, they are looking for you, so they need to know that you exist. So if you contact your local, you know, whether it's community radio or your local national radio, hi Deirdre, then, you know, just say, look, I'm available for comment. If you need any help, you know, need anybody to talk about this, I can talk about it, you know. And that's how you get
Excellent.
started.
Yeah, that's excellent. I didn't know that. That's brilliant. That's, again, you know, you're just giving these beautiful little nuggets to us. I love you.
Love you too. You're welcome.
I have this this comment I want to make, and I'm sure it's going to turn into some sort of question. But there was something that you mentioned yesterday, and that was to give up, to give up. What was it now on Twitter? I remember going, oh, I don't think I could do that. Give up control. Like, you know, it's not like marketing where you are. It's a step. You know exactly what you're doing with PR. Once you're out there and you're, you know, fulfilling all of these things like stalking, or maybe you get in front of the radio, you're giving up the control of your marketing, if you will, aren't you? That sort of. And when I read that, I was like, no. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, that's why people are so petrified. Because I mean, I've had clients who for all kinds of publications, and they're like, I didn't say that. The journalist twisted it, or they've been on the radio and they've literally have been giving the presenter what they wanted, and they were like, they might have pre-recorded a comment for a radio show, and they were not actually the comment wasn't used. All kinds of things like that. People, you know, the journalists have like edited like pictures or like words, paragraphs that they're given. Yeah, I think this is the scary part about, you know, it's their timing, it's their agenda, it's their content, and they decide what gets what, you know, because they could also, you have to understand that, like, for example, with like print media or even digital comments on a website or a, you know, online site, you might say this, and this, but like the journalist will give it to their editor, and their editor will say, oh, we've only got 400 words. I had my one client, Mary McCrory, love her, and she made a comment on in Wired UK online, so Wired magazine, but the online version, and they claimed that they'd run out of so much space that they just put McCrory instead of her name, Mary McCrory. So she was making this comment about Slack and productivity, and I had to go back to the journalist and said, look, we really, really appreciate it. This is all my non-violent language. We really appreciate that we've got this opportunity, but it doesn't really mean anything because it just says McCrory, and it could be any McCrory. It's not Mary McCrory, my client. Can you just put Mary in front? And they did eventually, but like, that's what I mean. You haven't got, you know, sometimes I'd say most of the time they will add your name in properly, but like, she gave like quite a few comments and they edited it to just like half a sentence, but she was in Wired magazine, so you got to think, well, that's the goal, you know, that's credibility, that's authority, that shows what she's talking about. You know, she's written a book about women, work and wellness, quoted in Wired UK about productivity. That's quite cool, you know. So you just got to kind of think about what the payoff is, have your eyes on the prize and go, okay, yes, I'm losing control over this, and well, most of it, like I said, you've got a microscopic amount, but you want to think, well, it's just going to, so for example, like a lot of newspapers or online publications that people are quoted in, you're going to be seen by like tens of thousands of people instead of what your normal reach is in your normal community. You know, TV, it goes into hundreds of thousands. And, you know, as with some of the national publications, I mean, sometimes it goes into a couple of million. It depends, but that's like massively, you know, much more exposure. So it really, really, really supercharges your visibility, which in turn will supercharge your authority and your impact, you know. I've had clients, you know, being able to double their speaking fees. They've generated quite a lot more business because of this, because the reality is, even in a social media world that we live in, people take you far more seriously when you've been in the media. Even though the world is changing, the media is changing, it's still fact that people go, oh, but they were in the Irish Independent. Oh, you know, or they're on the radio or the RTE or whatever it was. People really do like go, oh yeah, they must be quite good. They're doing that, you know, because when you're doing your own marketing, you're completely controlled. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the time there. We're almost at 30 minutes, believe it or not.
Oh my God, I can't believe that.
How did that happen?
Feels like we're just talking astrology. We've just been here for like.
I've still got tears coming out of my eyes. So we'll wrap this up, right? But I really would love to maybe have you in the group, in our group, and maybe expand a little bit more, because I'm sure they're going to really enjoy that. But before we go, you have a really, really, really special offer, don't you?
I do, yes. We announced it on the Twitter, didn't we? So my whole process, my soft PR process, I've created a course. It's video based. We've got transcriptions coming in the next week. We've just got to add them into the back bit of the course. And it's called Soft PR for Twitter. And I in it, there's short videos. It's just me talking you through like how PR works, what the rules are of PR, and then how you can gain PR opportunities on Twitter. So we're going into quite a bit more detail than we've obviously had time to today or last night.
Yeah.
And it's the cost of it is £300, but I've got a 50% code, which your community can use. We could say probably till the end of the month. So if I'll put the code, I'll give you the code, and we can put it below. So there's a link, and then if they put the code in, they get 50% off. So instead of it being £300, it'll be 150.
Cool. That's a pretty good offer. Yeah. We'll put it onto our blog as well, so they can click on it and go straight through to your offer.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's my pleasure, because it's kind of, that might give them a grounding in things. It's kind of, because it is a very, very different animal, PR. That's why a lot of people are so scared of it. It doesn't work like marketing. It's not your walls at all. And, you know, that's why, you know, you've just got to play the game, really, because you're going to get, like I say, you're supercharging your business through doing PR. You just got to play the game. It's not on your terms. You got to go, I'm an Aquarian, I've just got to surrender. Oh, I don't know if I can. Maybe you can't.
I'll do something like, I'm going to say some affirmations beforehand or something. I can do this.
This is not, I am not. You might just have to write an affirmation going, I am not in charge today. In this moment, I am not in charge. Remember, I am not in charge.
Excellent. Well, listen, Carrie, thank you so much for your time. I had such a laugh.
It was really good fun. You're so welcome. Honestly, you're so welcome. And thank you for the opportunity last night. It was really good fun. It was really good fun.
Fantastic. I have not laughed so much in ages. I had one of those tummy aches, afterwards.
Mine was a bit worse than that, but we won't talk about it.
Okay.
You're laughing so hard, but anyway.
And on that note,
you see, I'm a typical Sagittarius.
We will say thank you to everyone for joining us. We'll put up the code for We'll put up the code for the coupon in a little while. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and you can connect with Carrie at theblondepreneur.com or at Blondepreneur on any of her social media channels, especially Twitter. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.